Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego here in Florida with your K1 Visa channel, your green card channel, your How Do I Bring Mom to America channel, your everything here is free channel. Okay? This is the channel where you get all your information on how to get a K1 visa processed, a green card application, it's a tourist visa, a spousal visa, and it's totally free. I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give you any legal advice, but I've got 9 years experience in processing K1 visas and green cards, especially. Okay. Karina, my beautiful wife, is from Venezuela. She got a green card on June 25th, 2024, and she had her scary visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, Colombia. Okay, right now she's out and about. She's busy doing stuff, so I'm going to do a surprise live stream here for you guys. And Mr. Najas is on the channel. Hi, Mr. Diego. How are you, Mr. Najas? I'm good. How is you? How are you? How is your family? I'm trying to get rid of this pop-up that came up. There you go. We're good. Everything's good. Karina's busy, so I'm going to do the live stream by myself. I know you guys can handle it without Karina, right? For one live stream. James McLean. Hello, Diego. What's going on, James? How are you? Now, remember, you don't need an immigration attorney to process a K1 visa application. You don't need an immigration attorney to process a green card application or a student visa. Well, I don't do student visas, but even for them, you don't. For a spousal visa, you don't need an immigration attorney. It's a waste of money. The only time you really need an immigration attorney is if you have a criminal conviction that you want to have an immigration attorney look at to see if you qualify for the benefit, for the K1 or for the green card. Okay, you don't want to file a K1 visa application and then find out at the embassy interview you didn't qualify and you get a visa denied. Immigration attorneys do a good job, okay, for the most part. They do a good job, but there's some out there that screw up your paperwork, cost you time, cost you money, and cause you delays, which are not necessary. All right? So my advice is if you want to get a K1 visa done correctly, properly, do it yourself. Mr. Najas, we all good? Good. Just waiting and waiting for the green card approval. You'll get it, Mr. Najas. You'll get your green card. Remember, in the summertime, in the summer months, July, August, especially, it kind of slows down a little bit at the green card processing centers. Okay? There are 4 places that you mail your green card application to in the United States. There are 4 places. If you live in Texas, your green card application goes to Louisville, Texas. Okay. The other places are Chicago, Illinois, Elgin, Illinois, and Phoenix, Arizona. What's interesting is if you live in Florida, like we do, we live in Florida, our green card application went to Chicago. But Alabama, which is just up the road here, 20 minutes or so, an hour, less than an hour away. If you live in Alabama, your green card application goes to Phoenix, Arizona. Why is it? I don't know, but it's interesting information. So remember, save your money. Don't spend it on an immigration attorney unless you are either too lazy to do the paperwork yourself. You don't want to take the time to learn the process, okay? Or you can't read and write. If you can't read or write, then you probably can't fill out a Form I-129F. But I know you can do that. I know you guys are very intelligent. You're highly intelligent, and you can do this by yourself. An immigration attorney will cost you $4,000, $3,000, $5,000. I don't know. Use that money for your honeymoon, for your wedding, okay? How long does it take to fill out an I-129F? Probably about an hour and a half. If you take your time, it takes about an hour and a half. And what I recommend you do is you fill out the I-129F on your computer for your K1 visa application and print it, and then go over the I-129F with a fine-tooth comb. Make sure you don't have any typos, you don't have any spelling mistakes, you didn't transpose numbers. If you misspell somebody's name, if you misspell your beneficiary's name, everything's going to be sent back to you because it's not going to match the passport, which you're going to include in the K1 visa application. Take your time, take your time, take your time in filling out the paperwork. Don't be in a big rush. If you get into a big rush, you're going to make mistakes. You make mistakes, it's going to cost you time. Arif Khan. Hello, Mr. Diego. Hope you had a great Sunday. Well, it's halfway through Sunday. It's 11:40 a.m. Central Time here in Florida. We had our interview on June 27th, and the consul approved us. Congratulations. That's an excellent job. Well done. Good job. Congratulations. I would give you a Mountain Dew salute, but I forgot the Mountain Dew. And the Mountain Dew's in the fridge. So forgive me if I don't give you a Mountain Dew salute. Okay, but congratulations. And what country, Arif, was the consular interview at? Which country were you in? Are you in? It's helpful to me to know what country, so that way I can answer your questions. If you have questions about embassies, I can help you a lot easier. Like, for example, the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, Colombia is very busy in July and August. They're just maxed out with K-1 visas, tourist visas, spousal visas. They're processing visas for people from Venezuela, from Curacao, which is a country belongs to the Netherlands. Okay, they're processing visas for those folks, not just Colombians. So wherever you live determines how much time it's going to take to get your visa interview. If you live in Ghana, Ghana is backlogged right now. So the U.S. Embassy in Accra, Ghana is kind of backlogged. So it's taken like 4 to 5 months just to get an approval or just to get a visa interview. So if you're in Ghana, please be patient, hang in there, relax, and just keep looking and keep looking. When you look at your NOA-2 letter, your Notice of Action 2 letter, when you read the NOA-2 letter, on the front, it's going to give you 4 months before the NOA-2 letter expires. If you're in a country that's taken a long time to get a visa interview, you're going to start worrying and panicking, thinking, well, my NOA-2 letter is going to expire in 4 months. I'm trying to get a visa interview, or my NOA-2 letter has expired. The way to keep your NOA-2 letter from expiring is to maintain contact with immigration, maintain contact with the National Visa Center, maintain contact with the U.S. Embassy. Like when Karina's NOA-2 letter, expired September 16th of 2023. I couldn't get a K-1 visa interview at the embassy in Bogota until November 16th, 2023. So Karina's NOA-2 letter had expired 2 months, but it hadn't, because when you contact the embassy and say, hey, this is Diego, I'm checking in the subject line, I put Karina's receipt number from an NOA-2 letter. I said, I'm checking in. The NVC sent me the case number, and I understand now it's in transit to the embassy, to you guys in Bogota. I sent the email to the embassy in Bogota. They responded back to me within a couple of days saying, we haven't received your visa package yet. Check back again later. That communication with the embassy and with the MVC extended Karina's NOA-2 letter, okay? And then I waited like 2 weeks, and then I got the ready status. So I sent an email to the embassy in Bogota, and I said, hey, I got the ready status. When do I get my packet 3, packet 4 email? When does Karina start working on that? Which I actually did for her. And the embassy replied back to me, and they said, we've received your K-1 visa package, and give us a couple of weeks to get it into the system. 11 days later, from that email I sent to the embassy in Bogota, I got the packet 3, packet 4 email. What's in the packet 3, packet 4 email? It's the list of links on how to schedule the visa interview. I got the email, in October. So Karina's NOA-2 letter had already been expired a month when I got the email from the embassy in Bogota giving me the directions on how to schedule the interview. So try to relax, okay? If you cannot get your visa interview before your NOA-2 letter expires, try to relax, because if you maintain contact with the National Visa Center and with the U.S. Embassy, you will get an extension. They don't send you a letter, an email, oh, we've extended your NOA-2 letter. They don't notify you, but they do. It's automatic, okay? So like I said, Karina's NOA-2 letter expired September 16th, 2023. I got her visa interview scheduled for November 16th, 2023. She passed her K-1 visa interview. with success. She did get a 221G looking for an Interpol police certificate. So they basically just held on to her passport until Interpol in Colombia gave her a police clearance. It took a month to get it. I was in Colombia with Karina, so I spent an extra month in Colombia with Karina. I was there with her during the whole process, basically. I went to the medical exam with her in Bogota. I went to the biometrics with her in Bogota. I went to pick up her passport at the CAC Center in Bogota. We did all this together, okay? The more things you can do with your beneficiary, the better, and you keep the evidence of your trips. Once you have your visa interview scheduled at the embassy, whether it's in Australia, in the Philippines, India, Colombia, wherever you are located, I recommend that your beneficiary, that your sponsor, your U.S. citizen sponsor, try to get time off from work to fly to the country and accompany you, Mr. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary, back to the United States. It's always good to have more evidence for the green card application. So if you, let's suppose, like I flew to Colombia October 31st of 2023. I scheduled the visa interview for November 16th. I got all that stuff done. Karina scheduled her medical exam in Bogota. Then I flew to Colombia October 31st on a 3-month tourist visa. Okay? I then accompanied Karina to all these places, and then we flew from Bogota, Colombia to Miami on Avianca Airlines. We flew together with our cat Tokyo, with Karina's cat, our cat. From Miami, I drove to with Karina home here. Then we rested up. And then what did I do after that? I scheduled for her green card medical exam. Just because you have a medical exam for the embassy interview, okay, doesn't necessarily mean that your medical exam is going to be good for the green card application. Do you have a copy of it in a sealed white envelope? Stuff like that, right? If you don't have a sealed white envelope with a 693 signed with vaccination certifications to include in your green card application, there's going to be a problem getting your green card for your 2-year green card, okay? When you get to the United States, just reschedule the medical exam and get the vaccinations recertified on a Form 693 by a civil surgeon authorized by the State Department to give medical exams for green card applications, which I did for Karina, and it cost me $175. It was inexpensive, and they redid everything. They put it in a white envelope, sealed it, signed it, and I included it in Karina's green card application. She got her green card within 2 months and I think 2 weeks, something like that. Arif Khan, dear Diego, he approved us. Good. Gave me a legal rights pamphlet. That's what everybody gets that who's a beneficiary, and said, welcome to the United States. Welcome. We welcome you too. But when I check my status in SIAC, it says refused. No, it's in process. Every embassy around the world says refused when it's actually in process. Your K1 visa has not been refused. It is being processed. So relax. It's not refused, okay? So when I went online, they say our case is in administrative. Yeah, it's in administrative. Your K1 visa is being processed and it's going to be embossed in your passport. It's in administrative processing. When it gets finally done, when it's in your passport, you're going to get a status that says approved, and then you're going to get a status that says issued. But right now, you're just waiting for that process to go through the system. Your K1 visa is good to go. Please relax. Don't panic, okay? Arif Khan, your passport is still with them at the embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Very good. It took us like a month to get an interview slot. Yeah, some embassies in the summer months, it's difficult to get an immigration visa interview, consular interview, an embassy, especially in the summer. In January and February, March, October, November, December, it's pretty easy. But remember, in December, the embassies close for Christmas. U.S. embassies around the world celebrate Christmas, okay? It's a U.S. holiday. They celebrate New Year's. They celebrate those vacations. Plus, they also celebrate the country of where you're at. They celebrate their holidays too. So like, for example, in Colombia, they have a lot of holidays that they celebrate in December. They celebrate Christmas and New Year's, etc., plus other holidays. You know, they celebrate Saint this and Saint that. So in December, the embassy, it's kind of hard to schedule a visa interview, especially in Colombia or South American countries. Arif Khan, so you're going to get your passport returned to you very soon with your visa. Relax, okay? Arif Khan, thank you for your consultation. That's why I'm here. I'm here to give you all this info, okay, so you guys can understand the process. If it says refused, it doesn't mean it's refused. If it was refused, the immigration officer would have told you at the interview, I'm sorry, your K1 visa has been refused. It's been denied. You didn't get that. They took your passport. Now it's in process. So they just have to throw something out there, okay, just to say it's in process. But they use a very strong word. They use the word refused. But it's not refused. It's in process. Francois Livingston, good afternoon, Diego and Karina. Francois, what's going on? Happy Sunday. This was a Sunday surprise. Yeah, surprise live stream. I do them occasionally. I do a surprise live stream. Karina's busy right now. She's doing stuff. So I basically said, don't worry about it. I'll do the live stream. You just do what you got to do. Remember, she worked. She's working. So I see new students are attending class. We want as many students as we can. I've saved pretty much, folks, over the last year, millions of dollars in immigration fees. I'm not exaggerating when I say I've saved you millions of dollars. If you take 1,000 people and they pay $5,000 for an immigration attorney, 1,000 times 5,000, how much money is that? My calculator, my 42-year-old calculator is kind of dying on me, you know. You can't, it's kind of like on its last leg. So Karina was right. She said it wasn't going to last much longer, but I'm saving you guys a lot of money, okay? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't hire an immigration attorney to do this. If you don't feel confident, if you're lazy, people who are lazy, they don't have time to do the paperwork, okay? But it's not hard to put together a K1 visa package. It's not difficult. You just got to pay attention to details. Putting together a green card application is easy to do, but it takes time. It takes at least 50 days. You come to America on your K1 visa. You come to the United States on your K1 visa. Your K1 visa then becomes obsolete. It becomes irrelevant. You're then on an I-94 90-day window of time. The Border Patrol issues you an I-94. Forget the K1 visa. Now you're on an I-94. You got to get married within 90 days. If you don't, you get deported. You get married within 90 days. And then once you get married, you want to start building a life together that you need to submit to USCIS for a green card, a 2-year probationary green card. It takes at least 50 or 60 days to put together enough evidence to get a successful green card application without a second interview. Okay? You just don't get married and file for your green card. It doesn't work that way. If you do, you're going to get a denial or an RFE. They're going to say, where's your evidence of living together? Where is it? You got married on March 1st and you submitted your green card application on March 5th. How did you do that? You got no pictures, nothing. All you have is the form 485 and the marriage certificate, and that's it. You're not going to get a green card. You're going to get denied. When you get married in the United States, give it 50 or 60 days to put together your green card application. Get your name on the bank account as a joint owner. Get your name on the title to cars, motorcycles, RVs. Put your name on the deed to the house, to the apartment complex, to the townhouse. If you live in an RV, get your name on the title to the RV, okay? It takes time to put together a green card application, at least 50 days, 60 days. As long as you get married within 90 days that the Border Patrol gave you on the I-94, you're within status. If it takes 4 months to put your green card package together, it takes 4 months. You're still in status. But if you don't get married within 90 days, if you get married in 95 days, your green card will be denied. You'll receive a letter of appearing before a deportation judge. Okay? Don't get confused. with you got to get married within 90 days and you got to file the green card within 90 days. You don't have to file for the green card within 90 days, but I recommend you do it after about 50 or 60 days. Just my opinion. Okay? Put together a strong green card application. Easy E. Hi, Diego. This is Good Surprise Sunday service. I'm all for it. I'm for it too. I'm in. I'm here for you guys. Francois, I was going about my business and YouTube goes off. Beep, beep. Live stream is on. Yeah, there you go. Now, the one thing about this channel is I never ask you ever to subscribe to this channel. It's your channel. Why would I ask you to subscribe to your channel? It's redundant. I mean, to do that. Either you need the information or you don't need the information. Okay? And I never ask you to like the channel. You like it or you don't like it. If you don't like it, then watch another channel. If you do like it, then watch it. But the goal of this channel is to help you get your green card and your K-1 visa and your spousal visa and your tourist visa for free. So you don't have to pay anybody to do the paperwork. That's the whole purpose of the channel. I'll watch a YouTube channel, and within 2 seconds they say, don't forget to subscribe to my channel or to like my channel. Why the heck would I subscribe to a channel that I've only watched for a minute or so? It's basically, it's like you're a panhandler. I don't do that. To me, it's irrelevant. Rambling Man, Kayadan. Good afternoon, Rambling Man. Good afternoon to Diego. My Filipino arrived on the 25th of May. Good. We got married on the 19th of June. Good. Congratulations. I'm now working on her and her kids' green card application. Now, Rambling Man, Kayadan, don't forget, you are going to process a green card application individually for each person. Okay? You're going to fill out a 485 for your wife, or your wife's going to fill it out. You're going to fill out, or your wife's going to fill out a 485 for each child. Okay? So if you got 2 children and your wife from the Philippines, welcome to America, by the way, to our Filipino friend, Kamusta ka? Welcome to the United States. Rambling Man, you're going to fill out a separate green card application per person. Each person is an individual. You're going to have 3 green card fees you're going to have to pay. You're going to write 3 separate checks for the green card. You're going to write a check to U.S. Department of Homeland Security for your wife and for each child. So you're going to have 3 checks and 3 green card applications. Repeat the medical exams. You're going to have 3 693s, and you're going to have 3 affidavits of support, I-864. And then you're going to have pictures and evidence of your wedding with your wife and honeymoon pictures, etc., etc., etc. You're going to have pictures with the kids in activities. You're going to have pictures of each child. You're going to file 3 separate green card applications for each person as an individual. You're going to write 3 checks, okay? And you're going to put them in binders or in folders. Put them in binders for each person. So you got 2 kids and your wife. You're going to have 3 green card applications, and then you take it to UPS or FedEx or DHL and ship it to the correct address in one bundle. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't make the mistake of where people write 1 check for 3 green cards. You can't do that. You cannot write 1 check for 3 green card applications. If you do, your whole package is going to be sent back to you. You got to write a check for your wife to U.S. Department of Homeland Security. You're going to write a check for each child. So you're going to have 3 checks, 1, 2, 3, or cashier's checks, or money. Don't use money orders because the amount is above $1,000. Okay, and don't use your credit card either, because banks have a tendency to block credit card transactions for immigration processing for green cards. Don't use your credit card. Write checks. But congratulations, Rambling Man, Kaya Dan. Good job. Francois, I like the channel. It has gotten me through a rough bump along the way, and then it's been smooth sailing for Francois, right? Now waiting for September 18th. Yeah. I'm not saying putting together a K-1 visa package is easy. I'm not saying putting together a green card application is easy, or a spousal visa. It's not easy if you don't know what you're doing. But if you take your time to learn the process and study the process, and I've made video after video after video on how to do this, you can either go online and look it up, or you can watch the videos, however you want to do it. But my goal is to help you get through this for as minimal cost as possible, and to get you success and be successful. Okay, I want to see you succeed and get your green card and get your K1. But you got to remember, when you apply for the green card, if you bring 5 people to America, you bring your wife, you got married, you got your new wife and 4 kids. Your family size is 6. Is the sponsor, the beneficiary, and the 4 kids. Your family size will be 6. Don't make the mistake on the affidavit of support, because when you print the affidavit of support, it's going to give an automatic family size of 1. You got to white that out. Get some white out the 1, because it's going to be a grand error if you submit it as a family member of 1. You count your family size, spouse, beneficiary, and children. 1, 2, 3, however many kids. And you're going to file separate green card applications for each person. Okay? Separate checks, separate green card packages, separate evidence. If you've got children in high school, get copies of their high school physical. Get pictures of the child with her new classmates in the new high school. Put that with the child's green card application. Let's suppose you're bringing a 15-year-old to the United States from the Philippines. The first thing you're going to do is put him in high school, right? You're going to get him a high school physical, right? You're going to get him in classes. You're going to get a copy of the high school physical, get copies of the application to join the high school. You got to fill out paperwork to join a high school. Put all that documentation in the K2 in the green card application for the child, for the 15-year-old or the 12-year-old. You got to prove the kid is with the family, and you do that by showing evidence of where the child lives, the child is in high school, things like that. What if you're bringing a child over who's 18 years old? They already graduated high school. That kid more than likely is either going to go on to an American university or go to work. If they go to a U.S. university, you got to notify immigration of the new address of the child. The child no longer lives with me. The child is now at the University of West Florida, or wherever. Use the evidence of the child. Where does the kid work at? Did he get a job working at McDonald's? That's no problem. Get the contract with the child at McDonald's. My child works at McDonald's now, or Hardee's, or Wendy's, or has got a job as a taxi driver, or whatever. Put that evidence in with the green card application for the child. You got it? Immigration, okay, are very strict on proof of relationship. If you can't prove the relationship, you're not going to get the green card. Francois, the vaccination list that you told me about are the absolute necessary ones. They're mandatory, yeah. But that is physical. The civil surgeon could say he needs more. Possibly. It's up to the civil surgeon. But maybe booster shots. He may require extra COVID booster shot. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I know the process. And the U.S. Department of Homeland Security right now is requiring an extra booster shot for COVID to get the green card. Okay, they just changed that law, I think, in January or February of this year. They changed it. Let me see. No, they changed it. I think May of 2024 is when they changed the rule where you got to have a booster COVID to get the green card. Now, talking about vaccinations. If you come to the United States and you say, well, I don't want to get my vaccinations because I got a religious waiver, immigration, really, they don't want to hear that. Get the vaccinations. If you try to get a religious waiver, the chances are you ain't going to get the green card. Immigration don't want to hear it. If you have a medical condition where the civil surgeon says, you know, you're pregnant, you probably shouldn't get this vaccination, we're going to say don't get this vaccination. As long as the civil surgeon says you're not going to get this vaccination because you are a medically problem, it'll be a medical problem for you, then you're good. But if you say I don't want to get the vaccinations because I got a religious exemption, forget about it. Don't come to the United States. Stay in your own country. Homeland Security is going to deny your visa, and they're going to deny your green card, not your visa. You'll come to the United States, and you're missing a few vaccines. Let's suppose you're missing COVID. Well, I don't want to get COVID because it's a religious exemption. Well, then you're not going to get a green card. Listen to me, guys. Let me see. Scott YT. Hey, how long will it take to get a green card after biometrics? Depends on how strong your green card package is. If you put together a strong green card package with enough evidence in there to support your relationship, showing when you started dating all the way to the green card application, should take about 3 to 4 months. But in the summertime, like July and August, it may take 5 or 6 months. The summertime seems to be a little bit more busier. So if it's a wintertime application, 3 to 4 months. Summertime application, 5 to 6 months. Francois Livingston, his appointment is tomorrow. Okay, he has had 2 COVID vaccinations. He had 2 COVID vaccinations, but Francois, he's probably going to need the booster. Okay, just a heads up. I know it sucks getting vaccinations. It's not fun. It's not fun, but you got to have them for the green card. You got to have them. Some embassies are making you get them for the embassy interview. I'm serious. It all depends on the embassy, and it all depends on the ambassador who runs that embassy. But when you get to the United States, if you're missing a few vaccinations, my recommendation is you repeat the medical exam. Repeat it. And then have the civil surgeon review your vaccinations, and then the civil surgeon in the United States will tell you, you need this or you need that. And then get the vaccinations. Get your civil surgeon in the United States to recertify your medical exam and your vaccinations, include it in your green card application. It will save you a massive headache, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You got to trust me. Scar YT, and how long will it take to get a work authorization? I applied on July 8th. So it takes about 60 days, 60 to 90 days. So July to August. So around October, somewhere in October, you should get your employment authorization document, which is a work permit. And then a month or 2 after that, you will get the green card. So you get your work permit, right? Which is okay. If you want to spend $260 on a work permit, go ahead. But you're going to get your green card probably a month or 2 after the work permit. So if you absolutely have to go to work, then go ahead and apply for the work permit. If you don't have to go to work, if you can hang out with your sponsor until you get your green card, then save yourself that $260. Okay? Karina got her work permit because it was free. When we applied for Karina's work permit in February of 29th, 2024, it was free. And she got it after about 88 days. What's that, about 3 months? And then a month and a half after that, 2 months after that, she got a green card. Rambling Man, Kayadan, on the I-485 Part 1, 25A, page 3, do I write in K1? Yes, you do. It's the question about being inspected and admitted at the border. I know what the question is. You put K1, and then you go across to the right-hand side of the page, and then you're going to go down to where it says you were admitted as a K1 or a K2. So there's 2 places on that I-485. You're going to check K1, okay, in Part 1, 25A, and then you're going to come across and down, and you're going to check that you were admitted as on a fiance, K1 fiance. You got it? Rambling Man. You got it? Now, if I was an immigration attorney, that would have cost you $400. I'm saving you money like the Dickens, right? Yes, you do. You put K1 in there. Easy E, my wife in Ethiopia will get her vaccinations during her medical exam before her embassy interview. The civil surgeon prefers that method so they can give all the vaccines at once. Okay. She's going to have a sore arm. Boom. But it's all good. You can do that. No problem. Then when you get to the United States of America, redo the medical exam. I don't know where you're going to be living, easy. I can't remember what state you live in, but you got to find a civil surgeon in the state where you live. Like in Florida, we live in Florida. I found one in Pensacola. You get the medical exam redone. You get the vaccinations recertified. that gives the civil surgeon a second look at your medical exam. So if the doctor in Ethiopia missed anything, the doctor in the United States will not miss anything. You live in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, there are civil surgeons in Phoenix, Arizona that will do a green card medical exam for your beneficiary. Make sure you do that. Make sure the civil surgeon in Phoenix, Arizona redoes your medical exam. I don't know how much it's going to cost. It cost me $175. I don't know how much it's going to cost in Phoenix, but it's hot there in Phoenix also. Try to drink plenty of water. Stay out of the heat. It's very hot. But the civil surgeon will redo the medical exam, recertify the vaccinations, and then put it in an envelope, seal it, and sign it. Repeat the medical exam if you want to have a quick turnaround for your green card without a second visa interview. Okay? The stronger your package for green card, the better. SCAR YT, I received an IOE number for adjustment of status. Yeah, based on the K1 visa, even if I applied my file by paper. Okay, you have to apply for your green card by paper. Okay, you do it by paper. You got to fill out a green card application and all the evidence, and you mail it to wherever you live. There's an address where you send it. An IOE number, okay, is basically the receipt number that you're going to use to keep a track of the status of your green card and your work permit. So you received an IOE number. That's normal. So did Karina, my wife from Venezuela. For your AOS-based K1, yeah. They mail you a letter, okay, with an IOE number on it. That IOE number is the receipt number. You use it to track your case. You should have an online account with USCIS, and if you don't, you will get a letter from immigration explaining to you how to open an online account with USCIS. When Karina got her IOE number, I would check it once a month. Because remember, I'm not going to go crazy checking every single day. You're going to get a headache. Once a month, I would check it, and it would say the status. When Karina's green card, okay, was in process, it said Karina's green card is in process, is being put together, and it was mailed to her from Corbin, Kentucky. Every single green card application, every single work permit is processed by General Dynamics. It's a private company that has a contract with USCIS, and they get processed and mailed from Corbin, Kentucky. SCAR YT, how long will it take to schedule the biometrics? You don't schedule the biometrics. Immigration schedules the biometrics. When you mail your green card application off to immigration, you're either going to mail it to Phoenix, Arizona, Chicago, Illinois, Elgin, Illinois, or to Texas, Louisville, Texas. Those are the 4 places that process green card applications. When you mail it in, they cash the check for $1,440, as long as you didn't apply for a work permit and an advance parole. If all you're doing is applying for the green card and for the biometrics, the price is $1,440 as of July 21st, 2024. That price could change in 2025, in 2026, but as of right now, it's $1,440. You submit the green card application, and the check is made out to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, includes the biometrics. You will get a letter from immigration telling you where your biometrics is going to be, what day, what time, and it takes usually about 2 weeks to get that letter, okay, once they cash the check. So after immigration cashes the check for your green card, about a week to 10 days after that, you get a letter from immigration directing you to go for biometrics. Where it is, what time, and location, the street address, the building, etc. Paulino Gomez. Hello, Diego. My K1 visa has a 6-month expiration time. What? If I get married in, let's say, 87 days, no. Your K1 visa has a 6-month expiration time from the date of the medical exam. You go to your medical exam in, let's say, Manila, Philippines. The date of your medical exam is when your K1 visa expiration starts. You go to the K1 visa interview. You get your K1 visa put in your passport. That K1 visa is good in your passport for 6 months, starting from the date of your medical exam. You said right here, my K1 visa has a 6 months expiration time from the date of the medical exam. If I get married in, let's say, 87 days, will I have enough time to file for the green card? Okay, let me explain to you, Paulino, some information here. You're getting a little confused, okay? When you go to your K1 visa interview, the K1 visa is good for 6 months from the date of the medical exam, which means you got to leave the country of origin within those 6 months from the date of the medical exam. When you arrive in the United States of America on the K1 visa, the K1 visa becomes obsolete. You now are working off of a 90-day I-94. The Border Patrol will issue you an I-94. Okay, I made a video on how to get the I-94. It's online. You go online, you print the I-94, and on that I-94, it's going to tell you, you got to get married between this day and this day. It doesn't say you got to get married, but it gives you 90 days to get married. If you don't get married within 90 days of the I-94 issue, you will be deported. If you get married in 95 days, you arrive in America, you've got 90 days to get married. If you get married in 95 days, after you arrive in the United States from the start date on the I-94, you get deported. Okay, you're saying to me, if I get married in, let's say, 87 days, will I have enough time to file for the green card? Paulino, when you arrive in America, you got to get married within 90 days. You can then file for the green card on your own sweet time. You don't have to file for the green card within 90 days on the I-94. You got to get married within 90 days on the I-94. Okay? You must get married within 90 days. Well, if you do that, you're in status. You can wait 5 months if you want before you file for your green card. If you need 5 months to wait 5 months. But my recommendation, if you want to get your green card quickly, is to get it done within 50 or 60 days. You arrive in America, you get married within 90 days, and then within those 90 days, let's say 60 days after you get married, you should have enough evidence compiled to go for your green card application. Okay? So yeah, if you get married within 90 days, if you get married within 87 days, why would you wait 3 days before your 90-day window expires? Immigration is going to look at that. You arrive in America, you've got 90 days to get married. You get married within 87 days. You got 3 days left before you get deported. Why would you do that? Why would you wait 87 days before you get married? Why not land in America, right? And then within a week or two, you get married. Why do you wait 87 days? You're like Austin Powers. You like living dangerously. Get married within the first 2 weeks of arriving in the United States, 3 weeks max, and then wait 50 or 60 days and put your green card package together. Then ship it off. Okay. Abduli Jallo. Diego, greetings to you, watching from UAE, United Arab Emirates. We love our friends in the UAE. The United Arab Emirates, we salute everybody in the UAE. We hope you're doing well over there. I know it's kind of hot in the Middle East right now. It's kind of warm. It's kind of hot, right, in the summer. The chef, they are CBP officers, not Border Patrol agents. Yeah, you're right, Customs and Border Patrol. They're Border Patrol agents. CBP officers works the port of entries. You're right. Very good. Border Patrol agents works between the port of entries and checkpoints inside the U.S. You're right. You're absolutely right. And thank you for that clarification. And but I say Border Patrol officers, okay? And Border Patrol officers who work checkpoints within the United States are basically violating the U.S. Constitution and your Fourth Amendment rights. Because once you are within the United States, you are supposed to be able to travel freely within the United States without being stopped by a Border Patrol agent to check your papers. And when I was in New Mexico, I was driving through New Mexico, and there was a Border Patrol checkpoint. And I wound down my window. I'm in a U.S. government vehicle with U.S. government plates. And they said, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" I didn't reply. They said, "I want to see your ID. I want to see your ID." I didn't show them my ID. I just sat there. I'm in a U.S. government vehicle that says U.S. government on it in a U.S. Navy uniform. And these Border Patrol officers were asking me, or Border Patrol agents were asking me to show U.S. citizenship. I didn't do it. I sat there for 10 minutes. Traffic was backing up, so they told me to pull over to the side. I pulled over to the side. They said, I want to see your ID, and you need to identify if you are a U.S. citizen. I didn't answer. And I wound my window back up and sat there. 2 minutes later, they came up to me. They tapped on the window. They said, you're free to go. I said, thank you very much. I'm in the United States of America. I'm not crossing into Mexico. You have no constitutional right to ask me to prove who the hell I am. And I didn't, and I won't. But thanks for the clarification, Chef. But I call them Border Patrol agents. That's what I call them. You want to call them CBP officers, you can call them that if you want to. But on my channel, which is your channel, this is your channel, guys. I say Border Patrol agents. But you're correct, though, on what you're saying. The CBP officers do work the port of entries, Customs and Border Patrol. Let's see. Paulino, gotcha. You're welcome, Paulino. Adriano Moro. Hi, Diego. How are you doing today? I'm doing great. I hope you're doing good. My name is Adriano, and my fiance K1 visa has been approved since April 30th of this year. And on May 13th, the visa was issued. And on July 1st, it said REF. What is REF? Do you mean RFE? Is that what you mean to say? RFE. In Senegal, how long does it take to get passport back? It said REF. No, oh, it said refused. That's what it said. So you went to your visa interview in Senegal. They took your passport, right? Your visa was approved. What you're waiting for now is issued status. When you get the issued status, you can go pick up your passport. In Senegal, it's taken about 10 days, 2 weeks to do it. Refused, yeah. It wasn't refused. That's just that's just what the immigration used. I guess they need to update their computers, okay? It says refused, but your visa hasn't been refused. If it was refused or denied, they would have told you at the visa interview, your visa's been refused. Your visa was approved, but they say refused because they don't have a better word to put in there. But just relax. It takes about 10 days. You're going to wait for issued status now. That's what you're waiting for. Well, actually, it's going to say approved. Then it's going to say issued. Then you go pick up your passport. And when you get your K1 visa and your passport, before you leave that office where you pick it up, look it over and make sure that they didn't misspell your name, that they didn't make any mistakes or typos on the K1 visa, okay? When Karina and I went to pick up Karina's K1 visa at the CAC Center in Bogota, Colombia, the first thing I did was check her name and it was spelled correctly. I made sure her date of birth was in there correctly. I made sure all that information was in there correctly, all right? Because if you get your K1 visa and there's any errors in it, and you get to the United States, the Border Patrol or the Border Patrol agent, okay, is going to look at it and say, there's a problem here. So make sure that your K1 visa is 100% accurate before you leave that office. If there's any errors in it, send it back and say, I need you to fix this. Because if you don't, they'll catch it at the port of entry. All right? So just word to the wise right there. Word to the wise. And you're worried that it's refused. It's not refused. It's just in process. That's all. The same thing happened to Karina. Karina was in the same boat. Refused. No, it was just in process. And then we got approved, and then we got issued. And then I saw the issued status on my phone, and I said, Karina, you got issued. Your K1 visa's been issued. So basically what we did was go down to the CAC and pick it up. And the first thing I did was study it to make sure there was no mistakes. And then we left. And that's how it works. It's an easy process. The whole process is easy. It's just time consuming and stressful. And then if you get an RFE, which is a request for further evidence, if you get an RFE, you got to fix problems. But if you can submit the applications without making mistakes, then you won't get these RFEs that slow down the process. You know, the number one mistake that people make, or the number two mistake that people make, is when they submit their K-1 visa, there's three mistakes that people make. Number one, they forget to sign the form I-129F. They forget to sign it. They get so excited and they get so emotional. They mail their K-1 visa package off without really checking it, and they forget to sign the freaking form. Number two, they make the checkout incorrectly. You got to make the checkout to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security with no abbreviations. If you make any abbreviations in that, you're going to get your whole package sent back to you. And number three, people fill out the wrong amount, either for the K-1 visa or for the green card. They put the wrong amount. So those are the three main reasons for problems that slow down your visa and your green card: not signing forms, not making the checkout properly, and not paying the correct amount. Francois, got you, but see you and Karina at the next live stream. Karina will be with me tomorrow. Today's Sunday. I'm just hanging out with you guys on a Sunday so I can answer more questions. Easy E. Wow, Diego, that was a crazy experience. I'm glad you stood your ground. Happened to me many years ago. I was a permanent resident then, got pulled over near Tucson. Highway Patrol asked me for my papers. Okay, if you get pulled over by the Highway Patrol, okay, they got to give you a reason why they're pulling you over. If you're speeding, your tag's expired, if you're weaving across the center line by accident. Some people are texting on their phone while they're driving and they cross the center line accidentally. The police officer, the sheriff, has a reason to pull you over. But the sheriff department, the police department, the sheriff, okay, or whatever, the city police, they can't pull you over without a reason. If they pull you over for a reason, you got to show your ID. Okay, you got to show your ID. But if you are driving in New Mexico or in Arizona and you come across a Border Patrol checkpoint, okay, there's a Border Patrol checkpoint, you're in America, you're in New Mexico. This is New Mexico and this is New Mexico. And you are traversing from New Mexico to New Mexico, but you're being blocked by a Border Patrol office, okay? The U.S. Supreme Court has said, okay, you don't have to identify yourself. The U.S. Supreme Court has also said that the Border Patrol can detain you, okay, for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour. They can detain you if you don't identify yourself, but they can't arrest you because you haven't broken any laws. All you're doing is driving within the United States of America. You are driving in America. I was driving in New Mexico with a U.S. Navy uniform in a U.S. government car with a U.S. government plate, and they pulled me over. I went through this immigration checkpoint, and the Border Patrol officer said, "Are you a U.S. citizen, and can I see your ID?" I didn't even answer the dude, okay? The Fourth Amendment of the Constitution says I don't have to respond to such stupid questions. Right, seriously. Then he said, because I wouldn't reply, he said, "Pull over here." I said, okay. I pulled over, and I wound the window up, and I waited, and he waited a couple more minutes, and he knocked on my window. I wound it down. He said, "You're free to go." I said, "Well, you should never have freaking detained me in the first place." And I said, "Have a nice day," and I left. Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. If you're a beneficiary coming to the United States of America, you got to learn your constitutional rights, your derechos, your rights as a beneficiary. You're a green card holder, okay? You have a right to be in the United States of America. You have a right to drive on the highways without being molested unless you do something stupid, okay? Like speed. Then you can get pulled over. But I just sat and looked at the guy like he was stupid. You know, I'm in New Mexico, driving into New Mexico. I'm not crossing into Tijuana. I'm not crossing into Nogales. Now, if I was in New Mexico or in Arizona and I was driving into, let's say, Nogales, Mexico, then most definitely I'm going to show that guy my identification. I'm leaving the United States and I'm entering into a foreign country. I'm going to show him either my passport, my driver's license, whatever. I think you have to have a passport now. But if I'm traveling within the United States of America and I come to a checkpoint, that's an immigration checkpoint, I'm going to enforce my Fourth Amendment rights. The Supreme Court says the checkpoints can exist. Okay, I respect the court, the Supreme Court of the law of the land. They said you can have checkpoints within 100 miles of the border of a foreign country. But the Supreme Court also says I don't have to identify myself as a U.S. citizen. But the U.S. Supreme Court also said that the Border Patrol can detain me, but not permanently. So I'll just sit there until the Border Patrol gets sick and tired of looking at me before I give up my Fourth Amendment right. Anyway, enough on that. Easy E, I gave him my driver's license and he still wasn't satisfied. Seriously, what did he want? A piece of DNA? He wanted my passport. Who travels with their freaking passport? I don't, unless I'm flying to Colombia. And I told him, no, I keep it in my house, locked up. So do I. He was being one of those. He let me go, but that was a bad experience. Yeah, it's a horrible experience. I wasn't speeding. It was just a random pullover because I looked suspicious. He was really being unprofessional. Number one, you should have got that police officer's name because you cannot be pulled over for looking suspicious. I look suspicious all the time. I look suspicious. Okay? But if you get pulled over by a cop and they say and he cannot give you a justification why he pulled you over, you get the deputy's name, you get his name and badge number, and you call his office and you ask for his boss. Or you say, I want the sergeant, I want your boss here with you. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? You got to understand your rights as a benefit. You come into America with a green card, you have rights under the Constitution to be unmolested in your freedom of travel. If you get pulled over by a cop, he's got to have a reason. If he doesn't, or if she doesn't, you got to ask for the deputy sergeant to be on scene. And then you talk to the deputy sergeant, not to the deputy. And be respectful. Don't be disrespectful. Just be polite. Okay? And say to the deputy sergeant, he pulled me over because I look suspicious. The deputy sergeant will look at his deputy and say, did you pull him over because you look suspicious? If the deputy says yes, then you are free to go. Another thing you can do is you can say, am I being detained? A police officer pulls you over but won't give you a reason for why he pulled you over. You look suspicious. You ask the deputy, am I being detained? If he says no, you're free to go. Anyway, guys, come on. I'm Easy E. I'm sorry that happened to you, okay? It's not a nice experience. Who travels with their passport? I certainly don't. I just travel with my driver's license, and my military ID. When I was going through New Mexico, minding my own freaking business, and I get locked up into a Border Patrol checkpoint, I'm not going to comply because it's violating my Fourth Amendment rights. I was in my freaking Navy uniform in a U.S. government vehicle. If they wanted to know who I was that badly, all they had to do was run my tag. Within a second, they would have had my identification. But I refused to speak. Why do I do that? Because if we let the government continue to dismantle and tread on our rights as Americans and as legal permanent residents, pretty soon we won't have any rights left. We'll be living under a freaking tyrannical police state. Just my opinion. That was Easy. That was back in 2007. Okay. I was 16. Oh, so what? Was scared, so I didn't think of writing his badge number or calling anyone. I was happy to get the heck out of there. I understand. You're 16 years old. You don't think like that. Okay. But remember, you when you come to the United States and you become a green card holder, you have rights under the Constitution. The only thing you can't do is vote. You can't vote because you're not a U.S. citizen. But you do have First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, Third, Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, Seventh, Eighth, Ninth, 10. You got constitutional rights. Anyway, guys, I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. I've been talking for an hour. I answered a bunch of questions. And the chef, I appreciate you telling me the CBP are different from Border Patrol agents. That's good information. But to me, they're all Border Patrol agents. They're patrolling the border. So I don't separate them. They're all part of the same security of our country, working for Homeland Security. I'll be back tomorrow with the beautiful Karina. She'll be here. She's busy right now, so she wasn't joining us with the live stream. So we will see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time. and hang in there during this process and be patient during this process. And I got to see what I'm doing here. I got the camera blocking everything. See you guys tomorrow.